because as soon as I hit the turn 2 curb, the right front suspension failed. So as soon as it landed, and as I went to turn left, the wheel just sort of went out of my hand, and I went straight in.
Yeah.
And as soon as, like, they sort of knew straight away that there was something must have been a bit skewy. So they were very, very quick to say, that's on us, get it out of your head. The car's going to, obviously we didn't get to finish practice, which made it a little bit hard, but they're just like, the car will be fixed for tomorrow. You'll be fine, get it out of your head.
Yeah.
Away we go. So they've been good like that. But yeah, as you say, starting to prepare for next year, I'm trying to do it as early as I can, where this year's sort of always all been a little bit last minute, because obviously remember last year Bathurst was December, and I was there in the Utes and 86s, and I didn't even know I was doing Super 2 yet, and that was December.
Yeah.
So it was all very January, February to do Super 2 this year. Once again, probably haven't realised till recently that you just can't do it all yourself. Like you know, you feel like, as I said, through other categories and other race meetings, you feel like you feel invincible, that you can go up to a corporate box and talk in front of people, and you can sit in the boardroom and pitch to someone and create their content for them and walk their partners around the paddock and jump in the car and do the job, and you just can't. I believe in, your Carrera Cups, your Super 2, your whatever. It's just too... Yeah. You got to be...
You saying that actually makes me realise why my parents have said to Brooke why I didn't go professional, in a way. Because I have autism and ADHD and all sorts of shit, and I can't focus. Brooke comes to my meetings and I'm literally like a zoned in lion or something.
Yeah, he changes, but yeah. I think, and also, it's like you said, it does get, that's what we're doing the show, then you're doing racing and that sometimes, because there's only two of us, and and there's like Nathan Tapp, who's helping us as well for video. But on the business side, you're trying to chase sponsorship, then you're trying to edit something, you're trying to check video, you're trying to, do your socials, do this, do that between us both. So we've had to like drop and fall between who's picking up what. But it's like you said, that's like one day we're like, oh God, I'd love to be able to pay someone one day to help out with just editing, take that on. But for you, with the things that you're learning, and like you said, you went through a tougher time this year and you learnt that to start to like get help, to trust somebody else that you're working with now. For the other kids coming up, and a lot of people find sponsorships hard, what's maybe like one or two things that you would you wish you'd known back when you started trying to do this?
Yeah, I think a big one is try and put yourself in their shoes. Like, I think it's very, as in the sponsor's shoes, I think it's very easy to be like, oh, why don't they want to sponsor me, or why haven't they, or why they got their nose out of joint a little bit. But I probably see it now. Not that I'm a business owner or trying to claim like I'm know everything, but now I've learned so much of that, I can sort of see how. And because I have, I guess, so many partners, I can see how some sponsors get a bit funny and might hold out on paying an invoice because, things haven't been done on time, or they haven't met this person, or things you initially spoke about in a meeting haven't quite happened. And that was a prime point of me, I guess, running myself too thin. So always probably putting yourself in their shoes as to how they might be thinking, or how they see it as a business owner, because, as I said, the fluff, in my opinion, doesn't last forever. Like, when you first lock in a sponsor, the branding, the tickets, the social media stuff, it's great as a start, but after a while, they're going to look at the bottom line and go, I can't just keep paying because of the niceties, Yeah. So I guess putting yourself in their shoes, and probably when being open and honest and sitting down with everyone you have involved and really trying to find what they want out of it. Don't go full steam ahead and say, but I'll give you this branding, you can this amount of tickets to this meeting, or blah blah blah, because smart business people will sit there and go, oh, beautiful, I'll take all that, I'll just sit tight for a bit, if you're going to do all that, I'll take it. And if you don't deliver, they're going to be have their nose out of joint a little bit. But when you're there offering all those things, half of those things you're offering, they mightn't even need. So really, really finding out what the sponsor or the potential sponsor wants out of it, and tailoring it to suit. Because you just going full circle, and you might waste time on a lot of sponsors trying to deliver something that they're not really interested in.
Yeah. Do you just kind of stop and just continue on and then wait till they get back to you type of thing? And then, like, how are you obviously you got plans for next year, so that will be in motion now, wouldn't it? Essentially, because it's December and you've only got the one race meeting next week, right?
Yeah.
So that would be the way to play it for next year.
Yeah, and that's probably, this year's probably a little bit, been a bit, feel like you're trying to tread water a bit, because I committed to at the start of the year, I committed with probably only 2/3 of the sponsors committed to what I knew that the year costs. And that's another thing that you probably don't get the best out of yourself in the back of your head when the full year's not paid for. There's not all the damage is paid for if you crash it, and it's
Sandown would have been a bit of a worry, wasn't it? Because that was a big accident weekend. Yeah. Did that put you under stress though? Like, fuck.
It did initially, but Ben and Rach have made the process not obviously easy, but I'm really comfortable with how they do things and how they've helped me and adjust things to suit. Because after that, once they realised it was a suspension failure, they're just like, "Nah, that's on us. So get it out of your head. You don't have to pay for it." Obviously, different story if I made a mistake and just trouted in or took someone out, which is obviously in the agreement. But they're very good with sticking to their word. And that's on us. It was because as soon as I hit the turn 2 curb, the right front suspension failed. So as soon as it landed, as I went to turn left, the wheel just sort of went out of my hand, and I went straight in. Yeah. And as soon as, like, they sort of knew straight away that there was something must have been a bit skewy. So they were very, very quick to say, "That's on us. Get it out of your head. The car's going to..." Obviously, we didn't get to finish practice, which made it a little bit hard, but they're just like, "The car will be fixed for tomorrow. You'll be fine. Get it out of your head." Yeah. Away we go. So they've been good like that. But yeah, as you say, starting to prepare for next year, I'm trying to do it as early as I can, where this year's sort of all been a little bit last minute, because obviously remember last year Bathurst was December, and I was there in the Utes and 86s, and I didn't even know I was doing Super 2 yet, and that was December. Yeah. So it was all very January, February to do Super 2 this year.
Yeah. Oh, so you're doing back-to-back last year at that huge festival. By the way, I liked that version of Bathurst. That was cool.
Full week at Bathurst with how many categories was there?
That was everything. That was ARG and Supercar categories.
Yeah, that was we done like Ute qualifying on like the Tuesday or something. And I still had in my last 86 race on the Sunday morning.
So you just,
it was a racer's dream.
Yeah. Oh, Brooke was like, "Oh, is there going to be more of that?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, no."
Yeah, I know. We tuned in this week. I was like, "Oh, it's less." Got us excited last year.
Yeah. So you didn't know at the time when you were doing both categories.
By then, I don't even reckon I made the first call to Rachel until after Bathurst, because I would have remembered going down to at least see him in the pits, and I don't remember doing that. Yeah, so it wasn't until after I finished that the Bathurst week, and then I rang Rach. I actually remember I went back driving for Lucci after Bathurst leading up to Christmas, and I remember doing a lot of my phone calls and stuff driving along. I do remember actually ringing her for the first time as I was parked up on me lunch break in the truck. Yeah. But yeah, probably got the ball rolling pretty late, and they helped out massively to make it work. Because Ben and Rachel, they've obviously done it a long time. They know logistically how much you got to do to prepare properly in terms of your testing and the spots on the car, and just do it all right. You could tell they were like, "Well, it's a bit late, but we'll try and make it happen." And it has been a bit, I have been probably playing catch up a bit all year with who's involved and who's doing what. But for next year, they've got the Scott Pye, Mark Winterbottom Team 18 cars at Eggleston.
Oh, so they've both got the Team 18 cars.
Yeah. So I think they take delivery of them mid-December from Team 18. So basically, yeah, as of the last couple of days, I've already started to get some designs done for next year. So do
you know which car you'll be taking, or you just don't know at the time?
Don't know. I don't actually know yet.
I could beat the sleuth on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not sure. I think the last couple of rounds they've both actually seemed quite competitive at different points.
Yeah.
And they're 888 cars, so they're Ben and Rach want to obviously get in early and get the cars and get some testing done, and but all the cars that they have now, the VFs that we're in, they're 888 cars. So Ben and Rach are pretty up to speed with the whole 888 thing.
Yeah. Does 888 give any data across or does those teams give any data across, or is it back from like bare bone? Like when you've looked over data from your car, is it there from when it first raced on the track when it was built, or do you just have it from whenever Eggleston bought it and went?
More Eggleston stuff. So really like Will Brown, Brody Kostecki's, like Adelaide, Townsville, Bathurst has mainly been Will and Brody looking at their stuff because they obviously had pretty good results with Eggleston over the last few years. A lot of Paul Dumbrell stuff. 2017, I think he's actually in the car that I'm in now.
Yeah. But there'd be different. Is there different tyres that have changed? Does that change the setup? Like, how does supercars work? Because most people watching supercars would just assume it's just the same cars going around the track. Do you know what I mean? But now with the Super 2 compared to the supercars, the current ones before the next ones, there's more aero, which is what Cameron Hill was saying to me at Bathurst.
Yep.
And these ones have less aero. So how does it all work with the tyre changing, the setup? And I asked this on Wally Stories podcast, but I want to hear your take.
Yeah.
On like how to set up a good car. If you could get like the perfect time, perfect lap, we'll put it Eastern Creek because you always live, you pretty much live there.
Yeah.
What would be like the best way to set up a car? Do you know what I mean? Like a good plant setup.
See, now these are the questions that I'm a bit out of my comfort zone. These are Cameron Hill questions. But I guess what I do know from I think the cars we're in now, obviously the 888 VFs, running gear, a lot of that stuff is all the same to what we're getting next year, the ZB.
Yeah.
But obviously the ZB's more aero, bigger wing, bigger splitter.
Yeah. Do you take a bit of a fruit salad though, because you've got a lot of those guys driving? That's kind of what I'll put it to you. Do you know what I mean? Do you go a bit of Dumbrell, a bit of Brody? Do you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, that suits me. Do you know what I mean? Do you try different drivers' setups even when you first turned up racing Super 2?
As in car setups or driving style?
Car setups. Oh, both actually.
Yeah, Winton straight up was pretty much Will Brown's footage and data.
Yeah.
Because I think he's pretty well been, I think, the quickest that Eggleston have had there over the years in the VFs. Not so much, not like Paul Dumbrell, Bush, and Will. Not that they all drive massively different. As a summary, I think they all drive a supercar pretty well. So it was more me getting out of that whole. Obviously, I've done 86s, Utes, a little bit of Trans Am, but a lot of I've obviously done a fair bit of production car stuff now too. A lot of my driving style and cars I've raced has been, brake boosters or ABS, or the car moves around a lot. The cars rotate early, get on the throttle early. Where trying to do that in a supercar just doesn't quite work with how much grip and aero and power they have. So it was more just, I think, for me straight away.
Does the Trans Am suit more of your driving style than the supercar in a way, or not?
Well, I felt like, because when I jumped, I only done
I'd love to drive one of them, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
cool. Literally
my goal with this podcast. So if anyone's listening, I want to be a teammate with Cam in a Trans Am or something.
There we go. We're putting it out there. I found the Trans Am, not that I did a lot, like I probably done 10 laps at Winton before I went to Adelaide at the start of 2020.
Yeah.
And I think I qualified third, finished third at the end of the weekend, and I felt like they were a bit more down the Ute 86 style, because they obviously there's a lot of grip the first or second lap in quali, but generally that big bag tyre, the Trans Am moves around a lot. The brakes aren't that good on them, so you can't.
Are they like a NASCAR brake or something? Are they?
Yeah. And I found the pedal goes fairly soft because they don't have big brakes, so they get hot, and you're not bombing it into a corner like you probably would with the supercar. I found like the Trans Am, you were probably braking that little bit early, rotating the thing that little bit early because it moves around so much. Yeah. I just felt like it was really driving the 86 or something, but with a lot more power. Right. Like just how I was really comfortable with the car moving around.
And the supercars like alienated for you when you went from the 86s and even the Super Ute. Like, do you know what I mean? Like did you drive the current Super Ute or the diesel version?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. What did you like? Did you prefer the big V8 one?
Yeah, the V8 one. Yeah, and obviously, mate, they've done work to them with how lower they are and a grippier tire, and they move around a fair bit, and that's what I'm probably really comfortable in cars that move around a lot. Where the first test day at Winton, hence why I was sort of looking at more Will and Brody stuff, because just how much grip and power, and I know the VF. In Super 2, we're on hard tyres and we don't have as much aero. And I thought straight away, geez, these things have a lot of grip. Even when you put your foot on the brake, like it's just like the things on a tram track, how it stops.
Yeah,
nothing similar to really that I've ever raced. And then, even like Will and Brody are like, well, wait until you drive a ZB or something with a soft tyre, like how much more grip it's going to have.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. Just. I guess.
How do you work your fitness training though around what you've said in this whole podcast? Like you are literally like, as I said at the start of the podcast, hard to catch. Like where do you fit in your fitness after this? Will you go after this podcast straight to the gym or something? Like how does it work? Or will you do it at 4 a.m? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I sort of just train when I can. I actually just do a lot of running because it's just once you got your joggers on or something, you just go. Like you don't have to think about it. You don't have to get to a gym and what are you going to... Yeah. What are you going to do this week?
I did the same thing. I did it today. I know exactly what you're thinking there. Yeah. Some days it's just like, everything else is just such a chore right now. And then when you run, you can just get your ass out there.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah.
So I've actually been trying to looking a lot on Strava now and look, because I've actually done, not competitively, but I've ran 3 half marathons now, and I do a lot of 10K, a lot of 15K. I try and run probably 30, 40Ks a week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like that just gets the heart rate to a point and you're just sort of there for 45 an hour, however long. Some days I don't get to train because there's just too much going on and you're still on the phone at 8 o'clock at night or whatever you're doing. So I just sort of train when I can, I guess. But as I said, I'll always try, and if the first 2 days of the week I haven't done any training, I'll just make an effort that Wednesday I'll make sure I do a 10 or a 15K run, that I've done something decent. So I just sort of do it when I can, really.
Yeah.
But I've ran this morning, 10Ks this morning. So I just got up early, done that, got a coffee, and then I was back home by 8:30, 9 o'clock, so I could start.
Yeah.
And then out emails and ringing people. And
what's your favourite championship? Even though you're in Supercars now, what's your favourite championship that you've run? Did you run the old utes, like the Holden First Ford ones? Or
I did once at Winton, actually.
Okay.
In the Dave Cedars Championship winner, actually, I think it was. I'd done the one ute round.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Like they're cool cars. Actually, one of my sponsors, Dormer, they do air conditioning and everything. They actually just bought an old Falcon V8 ute from back in the day. So I actually drove it the other day to track day, and I'm like, far out, these things are cool.
Want to hear more? Each week we will share the hottest clips from our guest interviews on YouTube. But to hear the full episode, make sure to subscribe or follow us on your favourite podcast platform.